Hey everybody, I wanted to go ahead and do a review on a travel humidor that I recently purchased on Amazon about 2 weeks ago. And to kind of give you the story, I purchased it and ran into some problems with it and got frustrated and pitched it. And the company was nice enough to send me another one once they saw the review that I had on there saying it was okay. But the problem that I had was the hygrometer here. Now, I know some people really don't care about having a hygrometer in a travel humidor, but I leave my cigars in there, maybe over a week. I might take it with me one day and then the next day, whatever, and I leave them in here. But the hygrometer here did not work whatsoever. But I am going to show you what I really, really liked about this because I liked about 90% of everything. The only 10% was that hygrometer here. So to kind of show you about what this is. Um, what this has in here is, first of all, it comes with these instructions I'll talk about in a second. And it does give you some accessories. One is a hole punch that you can unscrew this, and you can go ahead and use a hole punch if you're one of the people that likes to use punches on your cigars rather than using a guillotine or a V cutter. It gives you that. It also gives you a cigar holder. So if you're not, right by an ashtray or it's, not right next to you or something, you can go ahead and open this up and set your cigar on here. It also gives you a double guillotine cutter. It's not bad. Both sides do move. It's a little bit stiff, and it's stainless steel, but it's not bad. The one I had before wasn't really sharp and not necessarily have to be, but it cuts fairly well, so it's not a big deal because I have so many. And I also give you a dropper to go ahead and use the humidifier. So to kind of give you again a lot of the pros that I liked about this. First of all, it was nice that it had this little accessory side here that I could go ahead and put my own lighter, let's say, or cutter or whatever, and I can have that stuff off to the side here. This top here can accommodate 5 cigars. This is about 5 inch, 5.5. So Robustos, Coronas should fit in here. But some people that left some negative cons about this saying, well, my cigar is a little bit longer and I can't fit them on this top tray. Well, that's why this top tray comes off and you have a bottom. And this bottom here has a sponge that has some grooves in it that you can go ahead and put 5 cigars up to about I think it's about 7 inches long. So you can put maybe a double Corona in here. Maybe I don't know if a Churchill will quite fit. It might. But they also give you a sheet of Spanish cedar in here to kind of help flavor and give some aroma into the cigars. Remember, this whole thing is all plastic, so it doesn't really need to be seasoned per se, because seasoning is done with the cedar lined, Spanish cedar lined humidors. But I would like to prep it at least. So the problem that I had with this originally was I first of all looked at the instructions, and the instructions here, first of all, tell you that you need to, first of all, go ahead and fill the hygrometer with distilled water. And then they tell you to go ahead and put the tray right in here. Then put your cigars uh, in the bottom of the tray here, and then in the top, and then you go ahead and close that thing up. It doesn't really give you much of a time frame. It does tell you in the notice here to make sure you don't overfill the humidifier, and the hygrometer is plus or minus 5% as far as its range. Now, some people, they may not really care because it's a travel humidor, but there's a difference between 60 to 65. There's a difference between 65 to 70. So my hygrometer says I'm at 62. Am I actually at 57 or am I at 68? So now, the problem that I had with this originally was I went ahead and followed those instructions, and I put some distilled water in this humidifier, and I closed it with nothing in it for about 24 hours. I even took out the tray. And I closed this up for 24 hours. This hygrometer did not move one bit. It was stuck at 55%, the other one that I had. So I thought, well, maybe the hygrometer is broke. And thought, well, you know what? Maybe because the hygrometer is covered up, because it's actually typically right here in this middle, and there's a sponge covering this. So what I did was I took the sponge out. I went ahead and got my fingers on it and really peeled it off the glue. And I had this bare, and I went ahead and filled this up with distilled water again. And I let it set for 24 hours. And the hygrometer still did not move. So the second day, which would actually be the third day in a sense, I went ahead and put, I think, a 72 or a 75% Humi pack in here. I closed it up, waited 24 hours. It still did not move. It was stuck on 55%. So day 3, I decided, okay, I'm going to get an 84% Bovita pack, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to go ahead and use that. 84% are very high in humidity, and they're really used for seasoning the larger humidors that have Spanish cedar in them. In fact, an 84% pack, you use one for every 25 capacity count humidor. So if your humidor only holds a maximum of 25 cigars, you need one of those packs. If your humidor can hold about 100, you should put 4 in there, and you're supposed to leave it in there for 2 weeks to do a very slow seasoning. Well, with this, I figured I'll put an 84 in here, let it set overnight, because this isn't really big. If this needle can't move within a 24-hour period with an 84% pack in there, then something's wrong. Well, I did that. Needle still didn't move, stuck on 55. So, of course, I got frustrated. I pitched it, left a review saying it was okay, but the hygrometer was not a good, did not work. And like I said, many of you probably could care less, or if you have your own little hygrometer, because it is a travel thing. Okay. So they said, you know, they would really like me to give them another chance. They would send me a new one, which they did. So what I'm going to do this time, first of all, I'm going to skip the distilled water deal here for this point, because I want at least to see if that needle moves. And I'm going to show you where that needle's at right now. That needle right now is at about it's about 30%. I don't know if you could see the little tiny black needle right about here. It's at about 30 to 35%. It's right in between here. Okay. I don't know how close I can get where you can see that needle without being blurry. Okay. It's about 35%. I want it up in the red here. Okay. So what I'm going to do, first of all, they mentioned that for prepping this, you need to let it set for many days because of this sponge here and the sponge here that absorbs humidity. Well, why not have a hole cut in here then or something so the sponge doesn't absorb as much, or even take the sponge out or have it removable? But it really shouldn't have to sit for many days for something this small. So besides that fact, I'm going to say, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bottom sponge out. And like I said, you really don't need to season it per se. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 84% Bovita pack, and I'm going to throw this in here. And I'm going to see if this changes at least in 24 hours. I'm going to see if this hygrometer will change. This sponge here, like I said, is attached, so I can't really do much with it. But with 84%, I'm hoping that this will at least move and get up there within a 24-hour period. So what we're going to do is we're going to check back here in 24 hours just to see whether or not that moves. Now, again, if you see that needle right here, you see that where that's at right now, it's about 30 to 35%. So we're going to let this sit with this 84% in there, remove the bottom sponge, remove the tray, this is all plastic anyway. Remove the tray, left the cedar sheet in here, and we're going to let that brew there for about 24 hours. And we're going to come back tomorrow and take a look. Right now, it is exactly 4:15 p.m. on a Monday. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a look at this tomorrow, and we're going to see whether or not we can get a reading on here. Okay? So we'll check back in 24 hours. Okay, it has been a little over 24 hours. It is currently 5:50 p.m. on Tuesday. We did this yesterday at 4:15, so we gave it almost another hour and a half, almost 2 hours. So what we did again was I put a 84% Bovita pack in here, and I can say that the needle has moved. If you can see where that needle is, it is right about here at about the 55% mark. And this was the problem that I had the last time, is that it did not move beyond that. See that needle barely right there. I need to get it about another 5% to 10% more. So what I'm going to do is I am going to leave this for another 24 hours. And just to show you again that I didn't make any changes, here is the 84% Boveda pack with that cedar that I left in here. So I'm going to go ahead and close that up. And the problem that I had with the original one was that needle did not go beyond 55% of humidity. I need to get it up in the red area here. You see that the needle was right here. So it did go up about 20% humidity over a 24-hour period, 25-hour period. So we're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to leave this here, and we're going to see whether or not we get any additional humidity. So another 24 hours, and we'll check back. Okay. 25 hours later, it is now 6 o'clock on a Wednesday. And if you notice, it is still stuck at 55. Has not moved at all. This is the problem that I had the last time. And you'll see that I still have that 84% in here, and it has not changed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a digital one in here just to see if it's the hygrometer problem. I'm going to put this in here for 24 hours. It's right now reading about 39% relative, 74 temperature wise. So I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this sit in here for 24 hours. And we're going to see if there is a change in that and see if that becomes more accurate. Okay, so one more day, and we're going to go ahead and see what happens. Okay, here we are another 24 hours later. It's approximately 6 o'clock p.m. and I wanted to go ahead and check on this third day of this travel humidor that I received from a company called PLAYWITH. As I mentioned, I had some issues with this before, and what I did was wanted to try a 3-day thing with an 84% Boveda pack, just to kind of show you. If you take a look at the needle here on the built-in hygrometer, it is still stuck at 55%. And this was the problem that I had when I first got this. It is now Thursday, and I started this video on Monday, and it is at 55% still and has not moved. Now, what I did the last time, if you remember, just looking at the previous video here, I went ahead and put in a hygrometer, a digital one, and this one does say 85% humidity. That I put in yesterday, and over a 24-hour period, it is accurate with 85, although the hygrometer here that's built into the unit is not 85, as you can see the needle right here. So the only thing really that I find wrong with this travel humidor is the hygrometer is not all that great. Now, of course, many of you out there are probably saying, I really don't need a hygrometer in my travel humidor, and that's fine. You really don't, to be honest with you. But if you do, then I would suggest getting a separate one here and maybe attaching it here or something. The other thing you could do if you wanted to was maybe cut a hole underneath where this hygrometer is, and maybe that will work. I did when I did this the last time when I first got this, I took this whole entire sponge out and it still did not move. So I am going to keep this. The company was called PLAYWITH. I am going to keep this travel humidor only because, first of all, it's nice and long on the bottom. It does have a sponge here to go ahead and protect some of my longer cigars. And it does have this tray here for some of the shorter ones like the Coronas. And the little accessories here, nice to have. But if I want to go ahead and keep a hygrometer in here, I'll go ahead and maybe just leave it. I'll leave it right inside the tray here or something. But I am going to keep this. I appreciate PLAYWITH sending me a new one. And like I said, other than that, I mean, the hygrometer was probably the only issue. But like I said, if many of you don't really care about having a hygrometer and a travel humidor, I personally could take it or leave it. As long as you got a decent bovina pack in there or something, I would probably put it maybe a 69 to maybe a 75 in there. You could lay it on the bottom or you could just lay it on the top or something. And I'm sure with that, a lot of people use their travel humidors, for a brief period of time. They're not going to leave it in there for a week or two. They're not really meant for that. But if you're happy without the hygrometer, by all means, get this. I mean, it actually holds 10 cigars, and it does have a little accessory tray off to the side to put your own stuff. If you want to get your own hygrometer, one that's more accurate, get a little small one. You can get like a 4-pack of this for like $6 or something like that. You can just go ahead and look online and find some of that stuff. But I am going to keep this, and I do appreciate PLAYWITH sending this to me. Like I said, I wish I had more of a positive review for you for the hygrometer, but other than that, overall, it's a nice case. It's very durable. But like I said, the hygrometer, I know plus 5% difference. So is that 60 or is that 50? Don't know. But yeah, get your own digital one, throw it in here if you want to keep tabs on that. Otherwise, just throw a bovina pack in there. Use like a 69, 75, something like that, and you should be good to go. So thank you again, PLAYWITH, for setting this. And like I said, it's a nice travel case. The only thing I would say would probably be either eliminate this or upgrade it to something better, or do something with the sponge, like cut the hole underneath. But anyway, thank you again, and I will be using this for my travels because I think it is kind of nice. Even though it's all plastic, that's fine. I just put that cedar strip in the bottom, and I'll be good to go. So I hope this helps you out. Like I said, the only drawback again was the hygrometer. Other than that, it's got nice accessories. It's got nice holds a nice amount of cigars, and enjoy your smoke. So see what you think of this if you want, and have a good one.